Welcome to Blenderizm, my friends. So here is a next project. This one is about Lamborghini Huracan. I am gonna show you how to create parts of it because, I hope that learned how to model main body in Porsche tutorial. So let's dive into Blenderizm. First part is about exhaust pipe. It's a little tricky, so I decided to show you how to make it. We need to create a blank from which we will bend the pipe. So add plane subdivided 3 times to make circle using loop tool. Then insert to make additional circle. If you didn't activate it earlier, go to add-ons and find it there. Now select left side, copy that and place up and right. Now select right side, copy that and place on up and left side. So now we need to multiply our blank using modifiers. Add array to x-axis and duplicate it to y-axis. So now we can control amount of pieces. Next step, we need to add empty relative to which we gonna bend our pipe. Add simple deform modifier and switch to bend, set angle to 360 degrees and choose empty as object. But to make it work we need turn it around x-axis to -90. So now we have better control on this pipe. We can make it wider or longer, but a matter of fact we need to make it look good. So let's add solidify and subdivision modifiers. But it's not that we want. To fix that we need to add weld modifier and place it above solidify modifier. Now it looks better. Also we can add another subdivision to make it smoother. Now let's select edge loop and extrude it a little bit to the side and extrude along normals. Now we can add some extra edges. So we need to make some kind of step from other side of pipe. Also we can add weight normal modifier to make it look better. Now we can do this part of longer to make it look like pipe. Done, we good. Next step is a grid as you can see on this reference. We will use a similar technique as with a pipe. So let's make a blank. Add plane, subdivide it 1 time. Choose the middle vertices and make them wider. Now we can duplicate it and move along X and Y axes. And join them. Now duplicate this blank and move along Y axis and join them. Okay, so now we need to delete inner edges to apply modifier. So go to edit mode and dissolve vertices that in center of each plane. Well, now we can add array modifiers to multiply our blanks as with a pipe 1 array for x-axis and for y-axis. So now we need to add wireframe modifier, and here is where magic happens. We have some options here, so let's give it some depth. Add boundary to fill grid from outer side. Okay, now we can increase our grid to the size of the car. Next step, to avoid manual bending, we need some curve to copy it form. Let's take it from car body. Go to edit mode and copy this edge and separate it from main body and convert it to curve. Now we can add few vertices to make it longer. Okay, now add curve modifier to our grid and select curve as object to copy its shape. Now we can move our grid closer and place it correctly. Curves and surfaces are particular types of Blender objects. They are expressed by mathematical functions, interpolation, rather than linear interpolation between a series of points. Also, as you see, we need to make some additional vertices. The main advantage to using curves instead of polygonal meshes is that curves are defined by less data and so can produce results using less memory and storage space at modeling time. However, this procedural approach to surfaces can increase demands at render time. Certain modeling techniques, such as extruding a profile along a path, are possible only using curves. On the other hand, when using curves, vertex level control is more difficult, and if fine control is necessary, mesh editing may be a better modeling option. At this point, as you see, I corrected main body shape. Even when I copied it from blueprint, it doesn't look good. So I choose this vertices and move them upper. I show you this because I want to tell you that we need to trust our feelings. Don't trust blindly, but try to work in harmony with your vision. So now I need to make new back side of backlights. I'm using this as a chance to show you the process. So let's copy and separate inner edge to use it as a shape. We accidentally selected an extra edge, so let's get rid of it and close the circle on our part. Use grid fill to fill face, but we need even amount of vertices on sides to make correct geometry. And then using simple moves set vertices in places we need to make back side of backlights. So when back side is ready, select outer edges and extrude it to make outer glass and fix geometry manually to give it smooth look. I show you the inside of the headlight and its structure because in the future we will create materials and glow, and so that it does not look cheap, but as realistic as possible, not just add emission to the face. And we will come back to headlights in the future. The creation of a 3D scene needs at least 3 key components: models, materials, and lights. In this part, the first of these is covered, that being modeling. Modeling is simply the art and science of creating a surface that either mimics the shape of a real-world object or expresses your imagination of abstract objects. Depending on the type of object you are trying to model, there are different types of modeling modes. Since modes are not specific to modeling, they are covered in different parts of the manual. Switching between modes while modeling is common. Some tools may be available in more than one mode while others may be unique to a particular mode. Edit mode is the main mode where modeling takes place. Edit mode is used to edit the following types of objects: meshes, curves, surfaces, metaballs, text objects, lattice. You can only modify the mesh of the objects you are editing. To modify other objects you can leave edit mode, select another object and enter edit mode, or use multi-object editing.
Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap. I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks. Listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast. Don't remember life before you, that's facts.
So while we're here, let's make the rear window. Hold Alt and select the edge loop. Make a copy and separate by selection. We can use the easy way to apply modifiers, right-click and convert to mesh, and as we can see now we have a lot of vertices that we combined using grid fill. Now we have a nice grid. And by pressing the M button we move the glass to a separate folder. For convenience, I highly recommend checking the box next to the depth. This allows us to zoom in very much with the mouse wheel. You see how easy it is to zoom in to the tops, and at the same we will correct surface here a little, so that the doors and the body are in the same plane. And so let's move on to the headlights. First, let's create the headlight housing. To do this, select the edge loop by holding Alt and Shift. And as before, copy and separate.
posterized. We out here making posters and we ain't got nothing to hide. We move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh. Fuck the game.
But our chain is not closed, so we need to connect the vertices so that the geometry is correct. So we need to move vertices and dissolve some of them to make even amount on sides, and our grid fill will work from first try. This is a key to success.
I'm always flirting with pain, she like to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building a dynasty while the haters be trying me, but they hate from inside. You see, hate themselves in society, so I let them speak quietly while my actions speak wider. See, they be hiding in privacy with the screen. Oh, the irony to hate someone who's trying to be whatever they would like to be. We all feel the anxiety, we make our own rivalries. Yo, so where is all the positivity? I feel like we all just hate on everything, it's killing me. Thoughts build quick, causing different possibilities. Negative thoughts will cause different.
When we ready, select all and extrude in and use grid fill.
If you got no time, work smarter than ever. Don't ever let them tell you that you can never say never, and turn your mind into the truest.
Now it Watley ready for now. Now let's move on to the light sources inside the headlight. We need to make the headlight as detailed as possible, so that it looks attractive. So let's move on to modeling and add the almighty cube. And let's transform it. As you may have noticed, I installed an add-on so you could see which buttons I press. Everything for maximum benefit, my friends. And so we continue to make a semblance of a crystal that will shine. And we need to make a stand or holder on which it is fixed. Another almighty cube and transform it with simple manipulations. And make its length the same as the crystal. As you can see, I've downloaded references. I highly recommend it. This way of working allows you to always look and compare. And so let's squeeze the front edge of the stand a little, and it already looks like the original. Now you need to go to edit mode, select faces, copy and separate, as we have already done. As you can see, we have done this procedure many times already, which means that initially you need to model as similar as possible to the result so that in the end you have to do less work. Well, now we can place our crystal in the headlight housing, but since this is not one object but three with three different geometry centers, as you can see, the models have shifted, they need to be corrected. Also we can add one extra edge to headlight body. So, taking this opportunity, let's fix every vertices that we see here. Sometimes it doesn't work the first time, it's okay, the main thing is to strive to do it so that you like it yourself. Well, and actually now we can make 2 copies. In the reference we have 2 light sources, but I like 3 more. As you can see, I have already added a contour for the glass. This is done the same way as before, we keep the loop of edges separate. Connect the vertices and simply extrude first the vertices, then the faces and throw on the subdivision. I hope you can handle it without me. Well, now let's make glass, so we need to do same things. But we need to add fisheye effect to the glass. So here we're gonna use proportional transformation. As you can see, due to the fact that we have few vertices, it is easy for us to correct the shape of the glass. This is one of the rules that must be followed when modeling. And don't forget to turn off proportional transformation if you don't need it. It can make troubles to you. Well, as you can see, there are many vertices that are not ideally located. I will correct them without you if you do not mind. I suggest moving on to creating air intakes on the hood. First, you need to aim a little, visually imagine where the stiffening ribs will pass. And using the button J not F, so that the vertices are connected to the ribs at the intersection points. When general shape is ready, we need to raise up center edge. Okay, next step, let's bevel this edges. And we need to repeat the procedure with the rib at the bottom as in the reference. Well, next is grid. We need to add edge and relatively to it add edges that goes to windshield. Don't forget to use J not F. Edge loops are an important concept especially in organic, subsurface, modeling and character animation. When used correctly, they allow you to build models with relatively few vertices that look very natural when used as subdivision surfaces and deform very well in animation. We need to make a hole for the grate, and for this we need to straighten the grate a little, since when we remove the ribs, this shape will need to be maintained. As you can see, this was not enough, so it needs to be further subdivided so that everything is clear. When we are ready, we can proceed to the lattice. We add a plane. We need to arrange it as we need, subdivide it a sufficient number of times and add a modifier wireframe. But as we can see, it is not square. To fix this, it was necessary to first divide it transversely into 3 equal squares. And then everything works correctly. We good. Well, now we can make Lamborghini logo. To do it, we take reference, add plane and starting extrude to achieve needed shape. When the shape is ready, let's make the edge of the logo. Don't forget to apply scale here, and we can insert faces. Then select all, extrude it by Z-axis. Then faces where logo will be located, extrude down by Z-axis. If we press Ctrl 2 we give 2 subdivisions and it become round form, so we can add some bevel here, but let's do it manually so you can see how it transformates. As you see we need to add extra edges here and bam we good. Well, let's quickly put the material on the logo. Select the inner faces, add a new material, then in order to use the hotkeys you need to activate the Wrangler node. Go to Edit, then Preferences and turn on Wrangler in the add-on. Then back to Shading and point to the BSDF principle and press Ctrl T. Next, in the image texture, you need to select the one that we want to put on the logo. Oh, and don't forget to press Unwrap for all faces, and you need to set a seam, at least one. And so when the logo is ready we can move on to framing. For this we will add another material, then in the editing mode when the faces with the logo are selected we go to the selection and invert the selection. Now we can assign another material to it and choose a yellow color for it. Whoosh and we good. So we at the point where we can add bottom to our Lambo. This is necessary because water will flow into the cabin and we don't need that. Ha ha ha. So here everything is simple. Select the loop of edges by holding down Alt and extrude along the X-axis. Since in the mirror modifier we have a tick for clipping, then the vertices are simply connected in the center. Okay, we're good. Well, let's immediately repeat this procedure with the front wheel arches. Under the hood, no need yet. I haven't finished something yet. Well, and the rear arches too. So, as you can see, we have some problems with the geometry here. We need to take a closer look at what we have here. I think I'll add a few edges, move something, connect some vertices, dissolve one edge to remove tension. And the surface will look much better. Let's also connect the vertices near the bumper. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we already have a pretty good result. Let's admire it a bit. Look how many references I have here. This is because different references show different details and I take the best from each. I'm looking and thinking, where are the mirrors? We don't have mirrors. This is not good. Let's solve this issue. And the almighty cube will help us with this. Subdivide in a center. Make it wider. Give it subdivision. And let's make it a little sharper because we need to cut air at high speed. So select middle edge and deselect those where mirror will be. It need to be flat, and using combination Ctrl B split it on 2. Okay, it's sharper, but we need to bend it a little to car, so select this edge and using proportional transformation move it by x-axis. Okay, we good. We also need to make a mount to the car, and a friend of the almighty cube will help us with this. This is a cylinder. It needs to be processed a little and placed on the body. And so let's use a bevel, and we need to subdivide our cylinder in order to expand the lower part of the mount. We need to position it at an angle and slightly compress and lengthen it. Well, and in the middle we will make a small cut. Most likely it is for rotating the mirror. So, well, let's actually put the mirror. Don't worry about shading, it will be better when we're gonna connect parts. Well, we need to add another loop of ribs so that the mirror is clearly visible. That's better. So, and let's make spoiler, and so we add a plane and start extruding to the right. In order to optimize the process, we make the right side and then reflect the left side using the mirror modifier, and do not forget to press clipping. This process follows a few rules, depending on the settings. When only one edge of a face is selected, triangle mode, triangles are subdivided into 2 triangles, and quads, into 3 triangles. When 2 edges of a face are selected, if the face is a triangle, a new edge is created between the 2 new vertices, subdividing the triangle in a triangle and a quad. If the face is a quad, and the edges are neighbors, we have 3 possible behaviors, depending on the setting of corner cut type. The Select menu next to the Subdivide button, in Mesh Tools panel. See below for details. If the face is a quad, and the edges are opposite, the quad is just subdivided in 2 quads by the edge linking the 2 new vertices. When 3 edges of a face are selected, if the face is a triangle, this means the whole face is selected and it is then subdivided in 4 smaller triangles. If the face is a quad, first the 2 opposite edges are subdivided as described above. Then, the middle edge is subdivided, affecting its new subquad as described above for only 1 edge. When a face of a quad is selected, the face is subdivided into 4 smaller quads. When a face of an n-gon is selected, the individual edges will be subdivided but the face will stay unsubdivided. So when this part ready we can raise up this face to give it cool shape. Then select all and extrude by Z-axis to give it some thickness. And we need give it bevel and weighted normal. This modifier changes the custom normals of a mesh, using various selectable methods. This can be useful to make some faces appear very flat during shading, among other effects. See normals for a description of normals and custom normals. Well, let's give it extra edges and we need to adjust bevel settings. Well, and do not forget that the spoiler must be attached somehow, so let's turn it over and make such a small thing. I tried different fasteners, surprisingly, this simple one suits the most. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. This time I will divide the creation of the model into parts, I think to make the next issue how to make wheels and discs, so do not forget to check the subscription. Well, as always, thank you for your attention, learn hotkeys, it will make your life easier, take your time and pray for Ukraine. Thank you, goodbye.